everybody. Welcome to this edition of the Spartan Sports Report here on TV3. And Sam and I are happy to have Brent Duncan, the athletic director at CHS with us. And what's new, Brent?
No, just the last week before spring break, but 3 more sports start up today. Girls tennis and, with new coach Jason Krause, and baseball with Coach Thompson starts today. And,
Okay.
I knew I was going to miss one on. And golf with Coach Martin starts today. So
Okay.
that puts all of our spring sports in gear. And before long, we'll have a scrimmage this coming Saturday with softball in Jennings County at home at 11. And then the following week, we got Shenandoah coming down for a baseball scrimmage. It's been changed from a 5:30 start time to a 5 o'clock start time since everybody's out of school, so they thought they'd get here a little earlier. But that's as soon as the umpires could get here. So can't play a game without them.
That's right. They're part of it, aren't they?
Won't be long. We'll be talking about summertime work and next fall. So just all runs real
Flies
fast
by,
anymore.
doesn't
Anymore, it seems like it goes quicker and quicker. So everybody's excited. Everybody's getting ready to roll. And, you know, Trek's had a couple of indoor meets, and the kids have done well individually. And
Good.
hopefully when we turn that into the outdoor season here before long, it'll be great. Don't miss the Trek meets. We only have 2 at home this year. So the last home meet's April 14th. So just based on how we play the 3-way meets and the rotation of the schedule, all of our meets towards the end of the year happen to be on the road this year. So it's kind of funny how that works every now and then.
C Allen Gymnastics, how did that happen for JC?
JC had a pretty good day overall. She unfortunately still has a little bit of an elbow injury.
Yes.
And was unable to compete in the bar event. So, you know, she did well on the floor and then participated in the beam and the vault. And unfortunately, she had a fall on the beam, or otherwise I think she'd have made the top 6. But, you know, in that sport, that's the one thing that's the deciding factor, where you make it if you can stay on that little 4-inch wide thing. And unfortunately, she had a tumble, and that usually cost you at least a half a point in the score. And she had an 8.75, and I think if she got into the 9.2s, I didn't see the 6th place score, but I think she'd been close. Because it's more than a half point time you take a break in the thing. The fall's a half point, then you got a break in your routine, so it probably ends up being a 7 to 0.75 fault. So
Nothing to be ashamed of, though.
Oh no, it's a good day all around, and learning experience. You know, first time she's been there as a freshman, and obviously there are other freshmen there too. But it's always a different animal when you've not been to that place before. And of course, JC's competed in other big events through the USAG program. So.
Well, as Sam pointed out last week when JC was here, she has quite a future ahead of her, being just a junior or being a freshman.
Let's just hope she's stay injury free
in the state finals.
Get a little injury that's taking place, get it taken care of, and hopefully come back stronger.
Yes.
She runs track, and hopefully I hope she still can. I don't know what this possibility of maybe having the surgery. I don't know the whole facts, but hopefully that's not something.
Did she fall causing the injury? Or
I don't know how. No, I don't think it fell. It's just something that I think she's had, and it's just kind of getting worse. So hopefully they'll get it fixed and back where it belongs, and everything can move forward. So.
Right. Well, she was a delightful guest here on the program, and we enjoyed her very much, right,
Very
Sam?
much so. To be a freshman and be young, she was very poised.
Absolutely.
And being poised is part of being a gymnast. But, I mean, being able to speak to a couple of old guys here, she did very well.
Well, and if she can't get back for track, she'll be back hopefully for soccer in the fall. So she's playing soccer. So as she said, that's her favorite sport. So I'm sure she'll want to be back for that time. So.
Well, we're happy to have her, and we wish her the best of luck and a quick recovery if she can get well real quick.
Yeah, hopefully they don't have to do the surgery, but you never know. So we'll see what comes of it.
Yes. So the winter sports are winding down. We might talk about Lawrenceburg, who lost in their ball game to Evansville Bossy.
Yeah, I saw the score. I didn't see the game or anything, but you know, Bossy's no
73-62. Bossy had over Lawrenceburg.
Easy piece of cake, because you know they typically like to run up and down the floor and control the tempo, and of course then they got knocked off by Sullivan in the night game. So
right, Sullivan advances, and they play Bleach Grove this Saturday in the semi.
Back at Washington.
Back at Washington.
So
that would have been nice to be back at Washington had it been the Spartans. I thought going in, our sectional would be tougher than what that regional was, and that had we gotten through that sectional, I would have liked our chances, but we'll never know.
No, you know, and as you've been paying attention the last few years, the conference has gotten better and better in boys basketball, and I think it will continue to get better, not only in the boys, but also in the girls, based on who the people are coaching now and styles that they played. And I don't know if our guys got anything to do with that, but a lot of teams don't try to run them down the floor anymore. As you notice, everybody kind of plays the same similar style, and they've seen us have a lot of success, so maybe that's something they're trying to carbon copy. And then, of course, like, at Lawrenceburg, you got 5 guys going to play something at the next level. That's on the start.
Good
One's
athletes.
going to be a Division I football player, and one's going to Ball State, one's going to St. Francis. Bobo's going to go somewhere, and the other kid's going somewhere, and I just don't remember where they're at. But they got at least 4 going to somewhere to play basketball or football. So we don't have that. So
Brad's done a nice job with them down there too. So.
yeah, and being with Kerry for a couple of years doesn't hurt, and being around him and just learning different things as everybody takes away is, and we'll see where things happen and pan out. So
We'll be here before we know it. And
Yeah.
I don't have a count today.
that's not like you, Sam. You always have a count.
Well, sure, you have the starting date of
Football is August 19th at Spartan Field with the Red Devils.
right. Their schedule's been released. Play 5 home games and 3 away, 4
Four on the road.
away, right on the road. You go to Simon Kenton.
We're scheduled to go there unless for some reason we could find a week 6 game, then I could bail my way out of that contract. But we're hooked for at least one more this year if we can't find anybody, which is much better, in my opinion, to play somebody than to
Really,
have an open week.
it's not any farther. It's a mindset of going to Kentucky. It's really not any farther than going to Indianapolis to play or
No, it's just
up to
across.
Pendleton
It's
or
just across the river, and it's not like it's a long way away. I think it's 74 or 5 miles at best. But we're already talking close to 60 to get to South Dearborn, so it's not
right.
it's not a lot different.
Well, I think it'd be good to play in Kentucky.
Well, I hope.
Probably get some Cincinnati TV coverage on that.
Might
Sure.
stop and get a little skyline on the way.
Well,
home.
yeah. That sounds good too.
So maybe they could become a sponsor and I can plug them on the show.
They're comparable in size to Connersville, aren't they?
They might be a little bit bigger. Our numbers have dropped a little bit, but they've had a pretty successful program over the last
Yes.
decade. And the year before was kind of an anomaly for them when they were 7-4 or whatever they were. So, but I thought even in the game that we played them this year, they were very respectful and made a lot of substitutions at the right time when they needed to. And we were on the short end of the stick, but it could have been a lot worse. And you got to have a little respect for those people to understand the game's not about how much you can beat somebody by, and get a lot of their kids get an opportunity to play. And nobody was worse for the wear, but hopefully we'll find somebody in the state and relatively close. We are close to hooking somebody, but they couldn't get out of a contract for the following year, so we're kind of in a pinch right now. So still looking for a year from now. So
Well, time will take care of that.
let's hope, because we definitely don't want to have an open date.
Football's tough because you have to schedule on a Friday night, basically, right? I mean, you don't.
Yeah,
Nobody plays on a Thursday night. Well, unlike basketball, if you got a conflict, you can maybe move it to another night during the week.
Part of that problem is where it's located at. When we got into the conference, for some reason, we didn't get that out of this, conference schedule out of week 6, and it's a lot easier to find somebody in week 1 or week 2 or week 9 because most of the conferences are in conference play during week 6, and so then you're limiting yourself to the independent schools. Last year, the only school that had an opening that was willing to play us was Cathedral, and we're not ready to play Cathedral. So maybe in time, but right now.
Hope so.
And then Coach Jackson found Simon Kenton, and he was good to play him, and so hopefully, if we can find the right fit, we'll change him out. But I'd rather play somebody than not play somebody. So.
Well, I'm sure you can find a team that would like to come.
Well, you
play
never
Tucker.
know because everybody's in conference play during week 6, so they're not going to give up their conference games.
It is an away game, isn't it, this year?
This year's on the road, yeah. So hopefully we'll find somebody in 2 years. We're still looking. Been looking for a year now to find somebody for the year after, but no bites yet. So,
Why is it so difficult to find?
well, like I said, everybody's in their own conference playing their own games during week 6, so
Okay.
there's not a lot of individual schools
I
out
see.
there. Especially you just find Carmel might be open now, and Center Grove might be open now since they've been kicked out of their conference. So Cathedral might be open, but those are programs that we don't want to tangle with right
Sure.
now. So
Not yet, but
hopefully in time.
hopefully in time. We've got a new coach coming on board.
Yeah, Ryan Lynch was approved last Tuesday night at the board to be our next football coach, and Ryan's been a part of the staff for a long time and played for one of the best coaches in the state of Indiana as far as football goes. probably the most knowledgeable guy I've been around football-wise that understands the game. And I think all the kids that played for Coach Rackey when he was here learned the game differently than what they've learned now, because they had to make a lot of adjustments on their own during the game times based on decisions that the defense were making and vice versa. So, you know, hopefully he'll get things turned around, and I think he's got a good group of senior kids coming in, and you know, his boy Gavin just graduated, so his last kid's out, and he's got a stepson that's in there right now, will be a senior, and we'll go from there. So hopefully it'll be a good move for the Spartans, and obviously he's a Spartan guy and isn't going to pick up and move roots and pull the plug anytime shortly. So
Multi-sport athlete when he played here.
yeah, he's a football, basketball, baseball guy, so he understands that we need our kids playing lots of sports, and hopefully we can get our football program tied in with other sports, and especially wrestling, because those two kind of can go hand in hand. And even our football kids sometimes don't realize wrestling can help him, because it learns how to do hand fighting and quickness in moving your feet and doing all those things that can help the lineman down the road. So hopefully we can get a little tie in there and also improve our wrestling program at the same time.
Well, we wish him the best, and congratulations to him.
Yes.
Nice many times to have hometown guy move into those kind of positions.
Yeah, you know, and Adam had done a good job when he was here, and for Adam, he's just ready to take a side step to kind of retrack himself and regroup himself. And you know, there may be time down the road where he wants to be back and be a part of the program. You know, right now he's got a daughter that'll be a junior next year, and he's got one that's either going to be in the 7th or 8th grade next year, Frankie and Grace. And I don't think he's planning on going anywhere, but right now he just took a step back and helped coach at Franklin County last year because his kid was playing down there. And, you know, whether he stays there or not, I don't know. Maybe there'll be time that he'll want to be back and be a part of the staff. And, you know, he could be a good addition because he's very knowledgeable about the sport as well. So.
Oh, very much so.
How was the middle school football team that he'll be getting some youngsters from?
Well, I think we were a little bit better, but we've had a small number that have been in the 8th grade class, so hopefully we'll get a chance to grow that, or I take that back, the incoming freshmen were small this year, but we've had good numbers at the 8th grade and 7th grade, but sometimes it's just finding a consistent face down there that will stay and build that program. And anymore, it seems like you end up with somebody that just wants to be there a year or two, and then
Yes.
you think back to when I played, the same guy had coached this sport forever and didn't have kids involved, and sometimes it's hard to find that right fit down there. But it's important to find some good middle school coaches that want to stay and build those kids up and then develop them for being at the next level, and not just there because they might have a kid in the program or whatever it happens to be.
And be compatible with the head coach, with his philosophies as well, I would think.
Well, I think there's some plans to have some mentors from the high school down to help with the middle school kids and also help with the elementary school program and try to get it built from the ground up. And until we build the ground up better, we're not going to have as much success as we need if we don't continue to grow our numbers at the youth league.
And we see that in all sports.
Yeah, and you know, you take basketball, and Coach Harder started her dirt road league this year, and I think they had 6 good weekends of people coming, and they were excited about being here. And you go on a Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock, there's lots of little girls running around in the field house playing games. So you know, that's just a start, and hopefully that'll continue to grow, just like the boys have grown the dirt road league for the boys. So
Great.
Numbers are so important in football, aren't they?
well, there are certain sports you can't have, you don't have numbers, you can't be successful. You know,
Yes.
football, wrestling, swimming, track and field, and you know, and Coach Smith's is starting up her little volleyball league again this spring, and so that's the 2nd year for that. So we'll see how those numbers grow this year, and
Yes.
it can only make us better down the road as long as we got people in the right spots doing the right things. So.
Well, overall, we have good coaching at Connersville.
Yeah, I think we have coaches that really care about our kids and try to put the best for us. And I know people don't always think that, but really no coaches put kids out on the floor that we want to play to try to lose with. So we're always playing the kids that we think can help us win, and
Yes.
those kids who work the hardest in practice. And that's sometimes the difficult part, is not everybody gets to see what they do in practice. They just know what kind of kid they are and what great kids we have. But sometimes practice makes a little difference of how you practice in the week or over the last month, and things change and kids change because they're teenagers, so you're never going to stay that consistent. So.
Does anything have to be done to any of the facilities at Connersville for the?
Oh, I don't know. We're always tweaking and working. They're out working on the JV softball field today or middle school softball field today. So we've worked on turning that, and finally the weather's breaking where we can get people back in and hopefully get it finished up here in the next couple, 3 weeks and be ready to roll and have a second softball field ready. But we're always looking and planning.
But no major improvements
Well,
are
if there is,
needed.
I can't relinquish anything yet because nothing's set in stone. You know my patented answer, I can, but can't talk about anything. But there's been discussions about different things, so it's just all about timing and finances. And
Finances probably as much as anything.
well, you know, you in the biggest scheme of things, because you know, no matter what you do, it's going to be, if it's a major overhaul, it's going to be in the millions. So there's got a lot of different hoops that you got to jump through to get
Got to
through
find
those
where
things, so.
where that's going to come from.
So, but we always discuss about how we make them better, and
Sure, I know.
you know,
I know.
we've made a lot of improvements in this the last 10 years, just with you know new tennis courts, new baseball or softball field, new soccer fields, not new but resodded and watered, and you know, turning the JV softball field so we have 2 fields that look the same. And,
Field house.
field house, and you know, at some point in time the track is going to be close because it's been a long time since the track has really probably been resurfaced from the bottom up, but those are all things that have to be in place. And obviously at some point in time we'd like to redo the football complex and the swimming pool, and but we got some big donors that would like to put their name on it. I'm sure we would entertain those thoughts and ideas, but you know, it just takes time and money, and you can't always get that
Sure.
when you need it. So it's just all got to work in the master plan of the whole financial situation of the corporation. So
It's a quality of life type of thing. You know, the better facilities we have that can help attract people to the community, and it's great for the people that are already here.
well, I think when people move in, they look at what you can get at school, but they also look at what you have to offer from an athletic standpoint and what your facilities look like. So it can be a drawing thing. So that's always a plus for us. So.
With spring sports about to begin, and then followed by fall sports, and they begin like, what, mid-August, some of them?
Football started at the beginning, 1st of August for all of them. So girls golf will actually start right at the end of July unless the date rolls over. It's either the last week of July or the first week of August, and everything else starts the Monday thereafter. So August 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, we'll be rolling with everything again. And, you
Just
know,
turn it around a couple of times and it's ready for another.
yeah, about 4.5, 5 months from now, we'll be talking spring football and soccer and girls tennis or boys tennis and girls golf. And
Hard to believe how
volleyball.
quickly they come around, isn't it?
yeah, I mean, you think there's long seasons, but in the big scheme of things, they don't take long for
That's
those
right.
seasons to be over.
That's
So
right, yeah.
It just never ends. It's just one big cycle. So
What's baseball and softball look like this year? Prospects for
well, I think based on what we have returning, we got a chance to have some successful seasons. So, you know, in both those sports, it comes down to pitching so many of those times. So, I think since the rule change in baseball has kind of been around long enough, we've developed more pitchers over the last 3 or 4 years. Because the first year we changed it, you know, you don't have a lot of pitchers because they can pitch a lot more. So, it's the last 2 or 3 years about getting more kids who can pitch, and we definitely had that last year, and hopefully we'll have that again this year. And everything on. And of course, softball's a different animal. If you got one girl that's a stud, you can throw her every game. But they have changed the rules a little bit to help with their JV team. So you can play 28 baseball games or softball games, but this year you can take a varsity player and take them down to the JV, and all they can do is pitch. They can't hit. So they have to be. That would help some of our kids who don't get an opportunity to pitch sometimes, especially in girls softball. Because if you have the one girl, like I said, the one girl, they can throw every game they want, as many innings as they want, because it's a natural arm movement. So we'll be able to take some of our maybe position players that don't get to pitch as much and take them to the JV game and use them 5 times a year, so it doesn't count against their 28 games at the varsity level. So
That's interesting.
hopefully that will maybe make the pace of JV games a little bit better. So if you've been to some of the JV baseball and softball games, it might be 19-18 after the first inning. So if you can't find the plate, you can't find the plate, and it makes for a long game. So hopefully some of those kids who are on the borderline but play varsity second baseman or whatever and don't get a chance to pitch can work on their pitching skills at the JV level as well.
19-18, but looking at it the other way, is there a run rule that?
Right now it's 10 after 5, but there's polls going around, you know, at the lower levels, can it be 15 after 4 or 20 after 3? Well, I'm not so sure. I'm in favor of just playing 3 innings and go home.
No, you don't learn anything
So,
even in losing.
15
you
after
don't learn.
4, I could probably live with. That's more than halfway through the game. And by that time, of course, I've seen things turn in a heartbeat and
Sure.
that level. If a kid gets to his pitch count and you got to take your best kid out and put the next best kid in, the next team might score 15 on you. So lots of things change in that game. So.
You spoke of the natural arm movement. What do you mean by that?
Well, you know, in softball, they throw underhand.
Right.
So that's more of your natural movement of your arm. Throwing it from the top down puts a lot more stress and strain on
And that's the reason baseball is limited to pitchers?
Yeah, they're limited pitching count. So if you pitch 120 pitches in one game, you're definitely out. As soon as that batter's over, you're coming out. You can't pitch anymore. And you got to sit for 4 full days.
So it's a benefit for the player.
Yeah, it's try not to hurt their arm and
Sure.
injure them. So it's a health thing. But if the National Sports Medicine people ever put a rule in for softball and say it's not a natural movement and there is too much water, we could have the same thing in girls softball. Just depends on when.
Interesting.
So is that a nationwide thing or just here in
No,
Indiana?
it's set by the NFHS. So should be every school, every state should be following some type of guideline. Now I don't know if the pitch number is exactly the same, but ours is 120 for 4 days and 80 for 3 days. And if you throw under a certain amount, you can pitch every day. But then if you pitch so many pitches in 2 days, then you're out as well. So, and then those people that cheat and don't follow the rules, they cheat and don't follow the rules. But I can.
And it's an honor system, right?
It is an honor system, and I can really say in the time that I've been involved in sports, I don't think any of our coaches have violated that rule. I think they really do care and concern about overuse of the kids' arms and trying to injure them. They don't want them hurt. I always find it funny, though, I can't pitch more than 120, but I can leave the pitcher's mound and go to shortstop and throw it 62 more times across the diamond. So I don't know what the difference is.
So, coach keeps track of this, or the scorer, or?
Well, in this tournaments will be an actual official score person do it, but on most games they have a thing called game changer most times, and most coaches enter that, and it tracks the number of pitches for you while you're doing it. So, but you really have to agree with the other team too. So. But most of you are within a pitch in case they forgot to type one down. But if they're using the Game Changer app, it tracks the number of pitches that they have for them. So.
So you're not involved in the checking pitches?
No, but if we were hosting a sectional for baseball or softball, we'd have somebody signed to check that. And when they get to that pitch count, they're going to tell them they're done. Tell the official they can't go anymore. So. Now, if I get to the 120 count at my batter, I get to finish my batter, but I can't pitch to a different batter. So I might throw 127, but as soon as that batter's out or on, then I'm out. So
it's interesting that's
lots of things people don't know about the rules in behind the scene. They just see a game going on. So
any other rules that are?
Well, I'm sure there are lots of them if I would come across them at any time. But baseball, that's about the biggest change for baseball and softball. So.
Speaking of changing, we might check basketball real quick. And a new team coming to Connorsville in basketball.
Yeah, Lawrence North. It's kind of funny because Lawrence North is going off the schedule and North Davies is coming on. If you know anything about North Davies, they're number 1 in single A right now. Their head coach is from Rushville, so he wants to bring his class to the Spartan Bowl next year. And we'll do that on the Saturday afternoon of the girls' sectional finals. And I told him we weren't returning to North Davies. And he says, I don't want you to return to North Davies, which means tell me their junior class is really good. And maybe those behind them aren't quite as good. So I don't know. But speaking of basketball, we got the field for the 4 girls teams coming like we did last year. We had the 8 games in one day. And it'll be Madison and Winchester again. And then we've added Lawrence North to the girls' side and us. So they're coming.
Good.
Tentatively have 3 on the boys' side and looking for a 4th. So I'll keep those under wraps until I ink them all.
I knew there'd be something he couldn't tell us.
Well, I will tell you that Lawrence North is interested since we dropped them off their schedule. So they're interested in coming to our shootout. So
Okay.
And then a small school down south that has a 7-footer and a 6'7" is interested. So we'll see.
Wow.
Should be interesting coming up
I
here.
just got to find a 4th.
Speaking of small schools, one of them that was here,
Got knocked
Monroe
off.
Central, got knocked off, and I was surprised. I thought they were undefeated, and I thought they can take it all the way. But
Was it?
Westfield, they lost, didn't they?
no,
Westfield got beat by
Westfield-
Kokomo.
That's what I thought,
But
yeah.
this
Carroll,
was in the 2.
Carroll out of Florida County.
Carroll,
beat 'em
yeah.
Over by Lafayette. So I was surprised it wasn't close either.
No, it wasn't close.
So
I
was
don't
a
know what
little
happened
shocked,
to.
so. Well, as the Munchell family told me, if the big guy comes to play, they're hard to handle. But if the big guy don't come to play, They're not quite as hard to handle. So maybe he didn't come to play
Maybe
that
not.
day. I don't know.
Somebody didn't. But
Their 6'5", 240-pound guy was hard to handle at times. So, and for a 2A school, that's a pretty good-sized guy on the floor.
yeah,
so.
it is.
But
Coaches like to schedule at Connersville for some reason. They like the atmosphere of the bowl. Is that what the attraction
I
is?
think for most, it's the atmosphere, just the bowl itself, and knowing the tradition of basketball in Connersville is coming to a place that loves to watch people play. And if they've got a good team, they know it's going to be a good atmosphere. So.
And the crowds they know will be here. And
For the most part,
yes,
boys or girls, if
Yes.
you're winning, they come.
that's right. I've heard that saying before.
Build it and they will come.
You're right. So,
So build a team and they will come.
and I think,
And
we'll
I
have-
think we're on our way with the young ladies. And
Well, I think so. When you look at the little kids that are playing now and the number of kids that are there on Saturdays and Sundays, and I've seen a lot of improvement in the last 3 years, and this is the first year she's really had a summer with them, so hopefully we'll get back to more normal this summer. She'll have her second summer with them, and, you know, I think there's a group of ladies that graduate we're going to miss, but there's a group of younger ladies coming that just love to win. The middle school was 16-7, and the seventh graders is just right around 500, which is a great improvement over what we've had in the past 6 or 7 years from coming in at that level. So, you know, there's some people doing the right things at some point in time. So,
several underclassmen coming back from the varsity team as well that got a lot of good experience. So.
yeah, you know, you'll have Sarah Rubel and Sydney Dungan and Abby Schwartz coming back. And I'm sure I've missed somebody.
J.C. Wilhelm.
Wilhelm will be a sophomore, and then Simback and Lucas will be juniors. And I'm sure I'm missing somebody. I'm not getting them intentionally, but... and then you don't know who might come back out somewhere along the way. Maybe somebody didn't play this year that'll come back out. But a lot of those kids are 2- and 3-sport athletes, and they just want to win. It doesn't matter who scores and who gets which point and how many rebounds they got. All they care about is having one number bigger than the team on the scoreboard.
That's what makes you successful.
Well, that's what I've talked to kids about. You have to hate losing more than you like winning. And when you hate to lose more than you like to win, you know you got a good group.
So important to be unselfish as a player, isn't it?
Well, I think you see that in a lot of our sports, you know.
Yes.
I think Josh Williams is one of the most unselfish kids out there and sees the floor real well. And if somebody's open, he's going to get you the ball. So
Yes.
you go to different places. You know, in basketball, it's easier to see that in because you got to share the ball more. And, you know, baseball's dictated by where you hit the ball, and it's hard to be unselfish in those things. But, you know, wanting your teammates to do well is just as important as wanting yourself to do well.
Sure.
So, you know, you take success in what your team does, and if you happen to be driving the success, great, but if somebody else is driving that bus and you're just riding it, no point in being disappointed about not being the guy out in front or the lady out in front.
That's right.
So get on the same bus and ride together. So
The coaching staffs are for the spring sports are Michael Thompson for baseball.
Michael Thompson has baseball, Steve Rubel has softball, and Jeff Martin has golf. Jason Krause is now doing tennis, and Jeff Cooley and Ron Paxton are doing track. Coach House decided she was ready to give up track, so she's not going to do girls track this year. Ron's going to step in and take that
Hope
spot.
we didn't scare her away when we had her in here.
No, I
for
think
our
she's
show.
at that point where she's got kids that are involved in things, and she kind of wants to be mom for a little bit.
Sure.
So, and you can understand that. So
It'll be an exciting couple of months coming up shortly here for everybody.
well, you think when we come back here in about a week and a half, it's going to be April, and by the middle of May, we're talking about going home. So, you know, it doesn't take long for it to get here. And of course, being outside makes it a lot better as long as we don't have a cold and wet, rainy spring. It'd
Right.
be great to get our kids out and enjoy the weather. And like I said, come out and watch the track kids early because their home meets are going to disappear quickly till the sectional. So,
And you'll be hosting a sectional?
we have 3 this spring. So
That's right.
girls and boys track and girls tennis. So
That's good.
we'll take on 3 of the 6. So
That's good.
can't beat that.
That
I'd still to
brings-
golf them, but I can't seem to wrench that one away. So baseball and softball are taken up, and I can't remember which is where. It's on my paper at school, but in my head, I don't know which one of the conference schools is hosting it. So
Sure. Should be an exciting time coming up here, and hope the weather cooperates. And
yeah, we hope to get a few sectional championships, and you know, we'd like to get some more kids out. Our track numbers are a little bit low, but the boys are solid, but the girls are a little on the short end, and hopefully in time we'll get those to come back. So
Spartans can win some medals, and
that'd be all right.
yes, we hope.
Get a little hardware and get some trophies.
Thanks a lot, Coach, for joining us tonight.
Appreciate being here.